Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. Today is the anniversary of the date in 1709 when Alexander Selkirk was rescued. He was a sailor and his ship called in at one of the islands in the Juan Fernandez archipelago just off Chile to recoup, so to speak, but he thought that the ship was not seaworthy and he didn't want to carry on in it on the journey. He had turned out to be correct. It sank not long after leaving the island. But he was left behind on the island, and for 4 years and 4 months he managed to survive until he was rescued. He had been left a musket, a hatchet, a knife, a cooking pot, a Bible, bedding and clothes. He was able to erect a couple of houses, one for cooking and one for sleeping, out of pepper trees. He managed to make a knife out of some barrel hoops that he found on the beach. There were goats that had been left there because previous sailors had brought them and left them, and so he was able to get milk and meat, and because his father had been a tanner, he knew how to turn their skins into clothes. He had a limited diet of vegetables. The main ones on the island were turnips and cabbage and a type of peppercorn. But he survived. He did complain of being lonely, and was obviously delighted to be rescued on this day in 1709. He became, of course, the inspiration for Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. But it made me think a little bit about how he managed to survive on so little, using his ingenuity to make of what he had the best use. And I think sometimes we do surround ourselves with all sorts of things that perhaps are not necessary to our enjoyment of life. But what he didn't have, of course, was human company. And I think today I want to treasure human company, to imagine what life would be like if we're going 4 years and 4 months without seeing another human being. We do so often value each other's company for all sorts of different reasons. The interesting comment from the captain of the boat that rescued him was what excellent mental health Alexander Selkirk was in, what peace of mind he seemed to display when he was rescued. The captain said, "One may see that solitude and retirement from the world is not such an insufferable state of life as most people imagine." And that also struck me as significant, that he had benefited from time on his own, even though it may have been much longer than he would have wanted. And I think we, as well as today wanting to celebrate the company of other human beings, maybe also need to recognise that sometimes we need to be alone. We need some solitude, whether it's just for a few moments, whether it's for a few hours, or even if we go away on some kind of retreat. But some time in our daily lives and our daily routines, which is just for us, just when we're by ourselves, is really quite important for our mental health. And so today I just want to celebrate this balance between time by ourselves, time to be alone, and time with others, and all the pleasure that other human beings can bring.